Hey, how's it going? So I've been dying to do this video for quite a while. I am finally confident enough in my mold making skills that this might actually work out. I don't sound very confident, and the reason for that is because I'm going to try to do some elephants out of resin today. And elephants are really tricky. Whenever I've tried to do them, like little toy elephants and stuff, they always break. The legs are really difficult. The trunk is exceptionally difficult. So for some reason in my house, there is an unnaturally large collection of elephants. I can't explain it, but there's hundreds of elephants. But this is really good news for this video because I have a lot of options to pick from. I'll pick out my favorite few elephants and then make a mold of them. I'm going to be looking for ones that are metal, glass, or ceramic. Those are the easiest things to make molds of. And I don't want them to be too thin, like their trunk to be too thin that it's going to break super easily. And hopefully something that isn't too detailed. The sturdier the structure, the better. So for this project, I'm going to be doing the usual with just adding a bunch of dried flowers that I've collected. I have some tiger lilies. They have been sprouting out everywhere. And then I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with these charms yet. I'll figure that out later. I might just make them into dangling charms or necklaces. So I'll have to figure that out, but let's just get straight into it with making them. So I pick out 3 different elephants of varying sizes. I pick out a geometric looking one that I thought would have a really good structure for this project. And then I picked out 2 matching brass elephants. I begin to cover them in liquid latex mold builder, and I do this over a couple days, adding a new layer every few hours. And for this project, since they were a little bit smaller, I only had to add about 6 or 7 layers, even fewer on the smallest elephant. And while making these molds, I tried to leave a large opening on one side of the mold so it would be easy to take out the resin piece once they're finished. This is something that I try to keep in mind because I've made these figurines before, and the hardest part is taking it out of the mold. It's not too hard getting the resin in, but taking the piece out without breaking it can be a challenge, so I try to leave a big enough room and disregard for one side of the elephant that's going to be without detail, which doesn't matter too much if I'm planning to make them into magnets anyways, because I would be gluing a magnet onto the flat side. I carefully take the figures out of the mold because the mold builder is really delicate at this point and really susceptible to stretching, and dries really slowly if it's not exposed to oxygen. So I do want to get those figures out so it can dry fully and I can get to using them. And before mixing up my resin, I pick out some of the flowers that I might want to use. Anything that will give me some inspiration for this project. Like I mentioned earlier, I have tons of tiger lilies. I pull out a lot of really nice orange and textured lily petals. Not that it matters so much on what the flowers actually are, because I'm more looking for really awesome texture and size and color, because I basically tear and crunch and manipulate all of these flowers without any regard and just shove them into the mold to create cool colors and cool interactions with the colors. I do like knowing personally what flowers I use in each project, but I'm really only looking for some really nice pigment. So I also use some carnation petals here, and I mix these bright colors with some other natural neutrals like leaves and white flowers. And I let them cure for 24 hours. As they harden, I just hope that I have the floral composition inside of them right and that I poked out all the air bubbles. This is one thing that clear silicone molds are better for. You really know what's going on during this curing process. Here I'm a little bit in the dark, but we will wait until the next day to unmold them. I start off with the least fragile, easiest one, and I'm pretty pleased with how it comes out. It's a little bit cloudy and will definitely need a top coat, but so far so good. I was a lot more nervous for the other 2 elephants because their legs were so long and thin and their trunks swerved in a way that I don't know if it was gonna come out properly. I honestly expected it to break and to start from scratch, but I started with pulling and stretching the mold and loosening it up and making sure that it doesn't have a firm grip on the resin structure before I try slipping it out, leaving the trunk to the very last point and doing it very delicately. And as I'm doing this, I'm noticing that there are hardly any air bubbles, if any. That toothpick did us some good. And then the next step will be cleaning up all this excess resin with my Dremel, sanding off any of the sharp edges, and getting it ready for its final top coat. I really like how warm these colors turned out and how you can see dimension through the textures of the petals. I really love this bigger elephant, which has a bunch of pink on the front, but then you can see through the tears of the petal to the really bright orange tiger lily petals in the background. There's only a few little scraps of flower petals in the trunk, and I wish I did a little bit more than that, but I still think it looks really good, and I'm just so pleased and surprised with how well the legs turned out. And I think this little baby elephant is one of the cutest things I've ever made in resin. I can finally suggest to you guys a glue that really works. This is an industrial adhesive E6000, and I even used this glue to attach my rear view mirror on my van, so I know that it works really strongly. It's not very expensive at all, basically the same price as craft glue, but I always use this for my magnets now, and I think it's a really good notable upgrade. The glue cures really hard after 24 hours and is at its full strength after 72 hours, and I will definitely be using just this glue from now on. So if you want to pick that up on Amazon, I'm going to leave a link for that in the description. Here I prepare the two other elephants for keychains as I drill little holes in the top of the elephant and in the side, hopefully small enough to fit a jump ring. Otherwise I'll use an eye pin to wrap around it and then a jump ring to attach it to a chain. I love how these elephants match in design. They're similar colors, except the little one is a little bit brighter red instead of the pink, and I think they look really cute together. I was thinking about stringing them along the same chain if I just added another hole on the bottom of the large elephant to create a longer chain with this little one on the bottom. I definitely can try some different things out, but let me know what you guys think. I think it could be a really cute decoration, but for both of these, I decided to use an eye pin that I really like the look of wrapped wire, and it gives that similar look at the top of it. I think it's really cool even when it's done in kind of a messy way. And then using my needle nose pliers, I attach another jump ring so I can attach them to a chain. And then I get to admire my new elephant friends. I get to appreciate what I like about these ones and what I get to do on my next batch, because that's the best thing about resin. I can make as many of these little guys in as many unique ways as I can think of. So I definitely want to do these in blue, definitely the opposite color scale as here, but I'm just so happy with how these guys turned out. Good little summery elephant charms to decorate my van with. So I also wanted to show you guys this large and in charge elephant sculpture that I made, I don't know, like 6 months ago. I never made a video for this guy because I was just getting into YouTube back then and I just really wanted to do this project. I really wish I could redo it, but it just takes too much resin that I just can't afford it right now. Soon though, I'm sure that'll happen soon because I love this mold. I've only ever done it once. It's this huge elephant. Isn't it pretty, guys? So I already have some experience with this. Maybe I won't mess it up. A lot of the flowers in this are from my collection from when I lived in Toronto. Isn't that fun? So it's like a good memory. All of these pink ones are from Allen Gardens. These blue and green ones are from my backyard. Since this is a Resin Elephant video, I had to give this guy a cameo. How adorable. I love his little tusks too. I didn't do any elephants this time with tusks. So now I have 4 elephant molds. I could make an elephant army.